200 years ago, breeders in Belgium finally had enough and decided to do something about it. Meet the Belgian blue cattle.
What? I'm not eating that. If a nigga told me this where my meat came from, bro, I would never eat it, bro. I'd never eat meat again. The most deformed animals humans have ever made. Sickening title.
Clean, tuned, and ready to send.
I ain't trying to hear none
Towards the
of
ones
that.
that shouldn't even exist. Number 15, fancy goldfish. This is a carp. Obviously, nothing special. Thousands of years ago, wild carp were born with a rare golden color. The unusual fish became incredibly valuable, so humans selectively bred them together and eventually created the modern goldfish. Today, the fish is worth nothing and has been demoted to a common fish. As you can see, goldfish are agile, sporty, and surprisingly intelligent, which makes them perfect for a small glass bowl. But here's where things get interesting. There's a special category of goldfish called fancy goldfish that are specifically bred for their looks.
Yo, am I the only one that look at animals and sometimes think like, yo, what if I had to live my life as this animal? Like, would I be depressed? Would I be sad? Like, I don't know, bro. Made me look at my dogs different.
No matter the cost. Now, in this case, the cost is their entire health, quality of life, and overall happiness. But that's just a small price to pay to be beautiful. Meet the bubble-eyed goldfish. I know the picture makes it look like they're suffering, but that's because they are. Those giant fluid-filled bubbles around their eyes only allow them to see what is directly above them. Well, that's if they can still see, since eye infections are incredibly common. Then, of course, the giant balloons around their eyes are very fragile and pop easily, which could lead to deadly infections. They also don't have dorsal fins. Yeah, for some reason, those weren't as important to keep around, making them terrible swimmers.
What?
This permanently cross-eyed fidget spinner-looking fish is a celestial-eyed goldfish, and is yet another low HP fish that suffers from all the same issues.
Dang.
I'll go through the rest of the list very quickly, since I know you didn't click on this video to only hear about goldfish. Pearl scale goldfish. They were bred to have an unusually large round body, which can cause buoyancy issues, causing them to swim upside down or just constantly roll along the bottom. And yes, these are found in America. But if I see a single fat joke in the comments, you will be banned. Then there's the Ranchu goldfish, one of the most desirable fish, which can suffer from spinal issues, compact organs, impaired vision, and is also a terrible swimmer. All in all, these animals can live a decent life if properly cared for. But when
So we
something
just
goes
be
wrong,
making niggas
it
just
can
not
quickly
me, but niggas just be making stuff. They don't even care.
serious. Number 14, fancy pigeons. This is the rock dove, also known as the common pigeon. I know what you're thinking. It's impossible to make such a disgusting, hideous, and annoying animal beautiful. Wrong. This animal has been easily transformed by humans into hundreds of forms, but for the sake of time, I'll only be covering the most interesting and
What is this one, bro? This does not look right, gang.
jaw-dropping ones, beginning with the powder pigeon. Yes, somehow this is still a pigeon. Here, let's change his ethnicity. Now do you recognize him?
What the
As you
freak?
catch your breath, I'll very quickly explain what's going on. These birds were bred to have enormous crops, a pouch that pigeons use to store food. As you can imagine, having a bulky balloon on their neck can make flying extremely difficult. But thankfully, most of them are in cages, so that's not an issue. Another common problem is that food gets stuck in the pouch, causing bacteria or fungus to grow, which can quickly become deadly. Then there's the beautiful owl pigeon, which has been bred to have an extremely short beak, making it very difficult to feed its babies, a task that is then passed on to a human to complete. Fantail pigeons were bred to have long,
Yo, if there's niggas out here doing that, gang, you are the most
unlike
nastiest
tails,
nigga
as
I
the name
ever.
implies. Sadly, this was just a complete waste of time, since this animal already existed. These little guys suffer from terrible mobility, balance, and flight efficiency. Okay, make sure you're sitting down for this one. Meet the Jacobin pigeon. Yeah, real beauty speaks for itself.
What the freak?
If at any
Bro, look like he got a fur coat on.
point in this video an animal strikes you as ugly, just know you're completely wrong, and you have a lot to learn about what true beauty is. After all, a very small group of people have already decided these are gorgeous. And that's a few more votes than just you. Number 13, fancy rabbits. This is the European rabbit. Obviously, it clearly needed our help, so we quickly got to work. Just keep in mind that nearly all fancy rabbits around the world started with this ugly base model. The European rabbit is slim, has long, upright
Just a
ears,
normal
and is
rabbit.
incredibly athletic and agile. All traits that make it incredibly ugly. Yuck. So
What
to
the
fix
freak?
this, we heavily slowed it down, made it completely inefficient, and in some cases, physically ill, which was exactly what it needed. Much better. There are over 300 types of fancy rabbit breeds. Most of them live perfectly healthy lives,
Oh
but a
my
few
gosh.
suffer greatly for the greater good. So let's talk about those. Many breeds like the English Slop have extremely long ears that hang low, reducing their hearing and making ear infections very common due to poor airflow. But some breeders push this even further.
Yo, the animation on this is crazy,
And
bro.
prefer the ears to drag on the floor, becoming tripping hazards and increasing the odds of ear infection even further. Sometimes the best tactic to make such an ugly and undesirable animal cuter is to simply hide it. I'm sure that was the brilliant idea behind the Angora rabbit, the longest haired rabbit in the world. The
What is that, bro?
issue with this breed comes down to how rabbits clean themselves. Rabbits constantly lick their fur, but because this breed has such long hair, it can cause severe constipation or even complete intestinal blockages.
Oh my God.
A condition known as wool block, which can quickly become deadly.
Why don't you
now,
cut
let's
it?
talk about size. The last thing you would ever want to hear. The world has this false expectation that smaller means cuter, a theory that held true until it was completely shattered with mini horses.
They did not make mini horses. No, bro. Oh my, some of these people need to go to jail, gang.
Rabbits, of course, couldn't escape the human desire to shrink things, creating the dwarf rabbit, one of the most problematic and illness-riddled rabbit breeds, but also very cute. Just how small did we make them? Here is one next to a quarter.
No.
Now the slight cons. Skull abnormalities, dental problems, fragile bones, and overgrown teeth are just some of the many problems they face. The Flemish giant was created by humans to simply show off and to prove that we can do it all. Small, medium, big, whatever, it really doesn't matter. We're the best. These rabbits can grow to over 20 pounds, but at the cost of joint, bone, and heart complications. But apparently the most common health issue with this rabbit is obesity, which obviously means they're doing great. Another thing to keep in mind is that rabbits are prey animals, so they instinctually hide pain to avoid appearing vulnerable, meaning pet owners may not realize that they're truly hurting.
What? That's a thing?
Which is great, since that would have been annoying. Number 12, ligers. Ligers are the first of many animals on the list that were not bred for cuteness, but instead to be completely exploited for money, which is just as good. Obviously, the only reason we even know this animal exists today is thanks to the movie Napoleon Dynamite, where it was revealed to the world through this now famous drawing. Like all the animals on the list, ligers are entirely man-made and are not animals that have ever been created naturally in the wild. The liger's entire existence and reason for living are simply to entertain, which they do. For about 10 seconds before zoogoers move on to the next animal.
Wow.
A liger is created by mating a male lion with a female tiger, creating what is generally considered the largest cats on Earth. But sadly, its enormous size comes at a cost. Around $400 for a one-on-one in a picture. Now, for the liger specifically, it is riddled with health issues, from joint problems, arthritis, neurological disorders, organ stress, mobility issues, cancer, sterility, and shortened lifespans, just to name a few. There's also a twerp version called a tigon, which is created by breeding a male tiger with a female lion, and it faces a lot of the same health issues. Thankfully, it's not bred very often, not because of all the health issues, but because it's terrible at selling tickets. Number 11, Belgian blue cattle. Another animal that was in desperate need of an upgrade was cattle. This is a standard cow. As you can see, not very impressive. 200 years ago, breeders in Belgium finally had enough and decided to do something about it. Meet the Belgian blue cattle.
What?
Belgium finally had enough and decided to do something about it. Meet
I'm not eating that. If a nigga told me this where my meat came from, bro, I would never eat it, bro. I'd never eat meat
The
again.
Belgian blue cattle, after farmers discovered a natural mutation that caused extra muscle growth. They repeatedly bred the largest cattle together, creating the masterpiece we see today. Farmers are really proud of the fact that they achieved these results without the use of steroids or artificial muscle-enhancing drugs, which is a real shame, since I'm sure we can squeeze another 10 to 15% more meat out of them if they can just put their egos aside. The positives are self-explanatory, but I'll say them anyways. Double the meat, leaner beef, more profits for farmers, and jealousy from anyone who lays eyes on them. Now the bad. The biggest issue with having a great physique and the major point of criticism is that the cows have extremely difficult births. The calves are extremely muscular and have broad shoulders, which more often than not require a C-section for a successful birth. And from what my mom told me, giving birth to a muscular baby was not easy. And I'm not just saying that to look cool on the internet, so stop being jealous. Another issue calves can have is being born with an enlarged tongue, which prevents them from nursing properly and typically requires a human to feed them. The extreme muscle mass also places additional stress on the joints, legs, and hips. Then there's the obvious. They're less athletic, have awkward movement, and poor balance, which you could let us know down in the comments how that is. Number 10, Persian cats. Scientists have been bragging for years that cats are the perfect animal from a biology standpoint. Now, I'm no scientist, but I am qualified to say they're completely wrong. After all, if it were true, then why are we still making adjustments? Exactly. Here are some of the most dramatic changes that needed to be made. The head shape, not flat enough. The snout, it shouldn't have one. The eyes, not bulging enough. And lastly, way too athletic. So tone that down significantly. What was left is what is now known as the Persian cat. Arguably the most unhealthy cat breed ever made. But on the bright side, all these changes made them slightly more photogenic, by at least a percentage or two. But let's talk about what makes this breed specifically unhealthy.
all cats
This
are
cat
just like-
suffers from breathing problems even while resting or sleeping, thanks to its compressed nasal passages. They also struggle with excessive tearing, which can lead to painful eye infections if not constantly cleaned. Their mouths can also become overcrowded thanks to their squished face, which can lead to all sorts of dental issues, which is just pathetic, since the solution to this problem already exists: braces. Number 9, pugs. The next few entries on the list are dogs, so I'll go through them very quickly. Let's begin. 1,000 years ago in China, pugs were the companion dogs for the ruling royal class. Today, they can be found in shelters or bought for a few $100s. This is what pugs used to look like just a few hundred years ago. As you can see, it still had a snout, which was unacceptable and meant there was still work to be done. By the late 19th century, the pug finally began to look like the dog we know today, with the bulging eyes, wrinkly face, and curly tail. With so many changes made in an attempt to make them cute, an attempt that is clearly still in progress.
They was already
there
cute,
were
bro.
bound to be
Dang, they was already cute, bro. Humans be trying to play God, bro. That's the issue. People be thinking they God, bro, and get to doing all type of crazy stuff. Like, no, bro, it don't work like that.
a few hiccups. This dog faces all the health issues that come with having a flat face: terrible breathing, eye disorders, dental disease, heat sensitivity, and skin infections. But don't worry, I'm sure by the time we perfect this dog, we'll have added at least 2 to 3 more health issues to completely balance things out. Another issue is that this breed struggles with weight problems and is one of the most obese dog breeds, as these dogs love to eat and often struggle with exercise. When I was a kid, I remember watching a pug play fetch, then collapse to the floor and faint. I asked the owner what happened. He simply said it did that from time to time because it struggled to catch its breath. I remember how confused I was, but I was way too young to understand. But now as an adult, thinking back on this incident, yeah, I was right. These dogs are terrible at playing fetch. Number 8, English bulldogs. From fighting bulls to fighting for their lives every day. This is the English bulldog. Once a respected dog breed in England whose main purpose for waking up in the mornings was to simply entertain. Now, simply waking up each morning is a blessing. English bulldogs used to be taller, more athletic, had longer snouts, and just had an overall more functional physique, which was great for overall vitality. But sadly for them, not cute. So things obviously had to change. After bull baiting was banned in England in 1835, dog breeders began prioritizing appearance, pushing the breed further and further away from its original form. They eventually settled on a dog that was much shorter, wider, heavier, and had a much flatter and squished face. You know, all the universal standards for beauty. Surprisingly, creating a dog with the build of a seal came with a lot of unforeseen health issues, the worst of which is the dog simply can't breathe well. And just like a vegan, they never stop reminding you of it. We all know dogs cool themselves by
Bro, is
panting,
my
but of
dog gonna come
course,
up on
the
here next,
bulldog
bro?
can't even do that correctly. So to get attention, they sometimes overheat or get heat stroke. Thanks to the puppy's large skulls, many females struggle to give birth naturally, so C-sections are extremely common for this breed. Then there's the skin infections due to moisture trapped under the flaps of skin, the bad
Oh
joints and
my
bones,
God.
and of course, all the dental and eye problems that come pre-installed by default.
Oh my,
But
bro, this is literally dang near all the issues my dog deals with, bro. Breathing issues, skin issues, bro. Freaking all her wrinkles be having moisture trapped in there, bro. Oh my
you could pick any body part, and there's a common health issue associated with it. Ironically, the very features that made the bulldog famous also gave it one of the shortest lifespans of any major dog breed, which is tragic. If only there were already cute and healthy dog breeds, we wouldn't have to resort to altering them so aggressively. Number 7, teacup dogs. Thousands of years ago, dogs became humanity's best friends, and it only took a few thousand more for humans to stab them in the back and begin to experiment on them. Perhaps one of the most extreme examples has to be the dogs that are marketed as teacup dogs. We can all agree that a dog that could be viciously murdered with an accidental step probably shouldn't exist. Anytime we run out of ideas in our endless, insatiable pursuit of cuteness, instead of admitting we've reached the end, we just say, well, can you shrink it some more? Which is genius, since 60% of the time, it works every time. Let's take a look at the Chihuahua, the smallest dog breed in the world. Yeah, not cute. So to fix that, we made them smaller.
What?
Phew, much better. But eventually, breeders pushed the dog so small that some weighed as little as a pound, leaving many dangerously fragile and medically unstable, while also being incredibly deformed, in a cute way. Breeders sell them under the label miniature, teacup, and micro, or whatever name helps make the sell. I know what you're thinking. Just how small did we really make these dogs? Well, hopefully you're sitting. Here's a picture of a micro Chihuahua. Under
This can't be real, right? He's lying. He's lying. He's lying. He's lying. He's lying. Oh my God, bro. This is crazy. This looks like a tiny TJ. Jamal. Bro. This is wild, bro.
Underneath it is the bone of a chicken wing. Since their bodies are so abnormally small, it's extremely common for them to develop hypoglycemia, or low blood sugar, which can cause shaking, seizures, and in severe cases, death. Then there's the small issue of their entire skeleton. You know, the thing that the whole body depends on, being made up of extremely fragile bones. A leap off the couch is basically a leap off the Golden Gate Bridge, and the dog could easily end up with shattered legs. Their tiny bodies come with tiny skulls that have soft spots, tiny airways that cause breathing problems, tiny jaws packed with dental issues, and fragile little organs struggling to keep up. All this trouble packed in a cute little body. But I'll just end it with this. For those of you who are unaware of how these dogs got their name, back in the day when these dogs got very old or were severely injured, farmers used to take them to the back of the barn and drop a teacup on them. Number 6, broiler chickens. We all know mass farm chickens live terrible lives in horrible living conditions. There's no denying that. And I know some of you guys are going to say I'm insensitive because of the way I'll be covering this section. So to completely negate any and all backlash I may get, let me just say this. I am personally endorsing the consumption of lab-grown meat. Of course, I will not be eating it, so once it's released to the public, let me know how it is down in the comment section. Now that I'm completely exonerated of all criticism, let's begin. Back in the 1950s, breeders began selectively breeding the largest and fastest growing chickens together to maximize meat production. This is a chicken from 1957, 1978, and 2005. But not only did the chickens get much larger, they also had their lives cut much shorter. A chicken from the 1950s could take up to 12 weeks to reach market size. size. Today, that same chicken only takes around 6. Commercial broiler chickens have more than quadrupled in size over the last 70 years, growing so rapidly that many struggle to support their own body weight. The increased load on their legs, joints, and tendons can make even walking difficult, causing many chickens to develop bowed or twisted legs. Thankfully, all these terrible and excruciatingly painful, life-altering conditions don't affect the meat. And since their bodies grow so quickly, the cardiovascular system can struggle to keep up, which can lead to enlarged hearts, heart failure, or sudden death syndrome. Having that much muscle puts so much strain on the lungs that some chickens struggle to get enough oxygen, turning blue, visibly gasping for air, or just rolling over and leaving the server entirely. Number 5, Scottish Fold Cats. It's a widely known and globally accepted fact that cats are the second best pets. So seeing how ugly they are, we just had to help. In the 1960s in Scotland, a cat named Susie was born with a very unique natural genetic mutation that caused her ears to fold forward. Breeders and cat owners instantly fell in love with the look and began to breed her offsprings that carried the mutation. Today, the breed is known as the Scottish Fold and is one of the most popular cat breeds in the world. This proves that even the ugliest animals on the planet can still have a shot at a decent life. But of course, where there's beauty, there's darkness. The mutation that weakens the cartilage of the ears, causing them to fold, also affects the cartilage throughout the cat's entire body. This means the cartilage in their knees, ankles, wrist, and spine can all be affected. Thankfully, these are all internal, so it doesn't affect its looks. Since the cartilage develops abnormally, many Scottish folds suffer
So they honestly just care about how the animal looks, bro. That's
from
crazy.
arthritis, joint degeneration, and
What's this
chronic
picture
inflammation.
in the background?
Sometimes at a very young age. These cats can live up to 15 years and can suffer for most of them. The crazy part is that the majority of the time, you would never know the cat had any discomfort by simply looking at them, since cats are extremely good at hiding pain. The cat can appear cute, calm, and healthy, but be completely rotten on the inside. And that's why this breed is so controversial. But as bad as that sounds, it can still get much worse. There are breeders who choose to breed 2 Scottish folds together because it produces the most dramatic folded ears, despite substantially increasing the risk of severe skeletal disease, with symptoms sometimes appearing while they're still kittens. Of course, the kittens with the most health issues are also the ones that cost the most. Number 4, turkeys. If you were to see a turkey in the early 1800s, this is what it would look like. And this is what it would look like after 1863, which is honestly quite sad. They wouldn't start putting cranberry sauce on turkey for another 30 years. Similar to the Belgian blue cow.
I love me some turkey, boy. I just made them dogs some turkey, bro, but I haven't, Thanksgiving is coming back around, bro. I'm gonna need some good turkey being made, boy. Ooh,
And the broiler chicken. The turkey made the fatal mistake of tasting delicious. Over the years, turkey were bred to carry enormous breast meat no matter the cost. Here's what a fully grown turkey looked like in the 1960s, 1985, 2002, and then 2022.
What's all this back? What's all this back here? Like, how did we add all this?
As you can see,
Not
they've
me.
nearly
How
doubled
did
in
they do
size in
that?
the last 70 years. This extreme growth places a lot of stress on the bird's legs and joints, making standing and walking difficult, which leads to prolonged resting that can cause skin blisters and sores, so that no matter what they do, they can never be truly comfortable. Their extreme size also makes it extremely difficult or impossible for them to reproduce naturally, so a human has to get their hands dirty and do it manually. Larger muscles need more blood, which heavily strains the heart, and turkeys simply dying of heart failure is very common. Number 3, Cavalier King Charles Spaniels. Cavalier King Charles Spaniels are one of the most unhealthy dog breeds in the world, yet still remain one of the most popular. The dog began as a royal lap dog, but over the years, breeders selectively bred the dog with the smallest, roundest heads and largest eyes, a move that completely backfired and created a dog riddled with painful and life-altering diseases.
With Google Play Games, you can play unlocked. Unlock rewards with Google.
Which was a rookie mistake. They should have just stuck with what works, shrinking it. And if that didn't work, shrinking it some more. The biggest killer in this breed isn't old age, but a common condition known as mitral valve disease, a serious heart condition that gradually deteriorates one of the heart valves. Studies estimate that by age 5, over half of all Cavaliers will be affected, and by age 10, over 90%, which absolutely shatters the suffering to cuteness ratio, a once solid and reliable metric. Another major issue is their brains. The skull was shrunk down so quickly that the brain never had time to adjust, leaving it compressed inside the skull and causing all sorts of neurological issues. But I'll just cover the most common one: syringomyelia, a condition where fluid-filled cavities form inside the spinal cord. Since I know none of us know what that means, I drew this professional illustration to clear it all up. This condition can cause the dog to air scratch. Owners who are unaware typically find this behavior cute or amusing, not realizing that the dog may actually be experiencing chronic neurological pain. Honestly, there's an entire list of common health issues that keep veterinary offices very busy, but none of them really matter, since mitral valve disease will take them out before they become serious. And I can tell you now, there's no greater pain than an animal living 10 plus years, you falling in love with it, and then it dies 1 or 2 days later. It's brutal. Number 2, French Bulldogs. In the 1800s, breeders in England
Okay, now I'm scared. How is this number 2? I'm thinking it wasn't on this list. I'm thinking my baby wasn't on this list. I'm
began breeding
scared.
smaller English bulldogs together. Over time, they repeatedly selected the dogs with the shortest snouts, largest eyes, stockiest bodies, and most prominent bat ears until the modern French bulldog emerged. Obviously, when you start with an already compromised dog breed and modify it aggressively, it was never going to end well. At least in terms of health. Looks-wise, yeah, they nailed it.
Look at my... They are real pretty, bro, but... health issues wise, oh my god.
French Bulldogs, also known as Frenchies, don't have a few common health issues. They have an entire list of them. They suffer from so many inherited health problems that some require multiple surgeries throughout their lives just to breathe, walk, or function normally. The dogs also have one
Okay, my Marley ain't this bad.
of the shortest lifespans of any major dog breed. As you can see, the suffering to cuteness ratio has been temporarily restored here. In 2022, this dog became the most popular dog breed in America, and with such high demand, thousands of backyard breeders couldn't pump them out fast enough. The major issue with this dog breed is its poor breathing, thanks to the shape of its face. The narrowed nostrils make it difficult for them to exercise, cool themselves, or even get decent sleep. Thankfully, pet owners can pay for surgeries that cost more than the dog to alleviate some of these issues. Spinal disorders are some of the most severe yet common issues that these dogs face and are often overlooked. The same mutation that gives the dog their corkscrew tails can also affect the development of their spines, which can cause chronic pain, mobility issues, and even paralysis. Again, completely optional to fix since their looks are not affected. The dogs also struggle to mate naturally, and females often require C-sections due to the puppy's oversized skulls.
Yo, I ain't gonna lie. This is fact. My dog had babies, bro. But she didn't have it with another friendship. It kind of happened accidentally. I didn't breed my dog, bro. My dog, my male dog thought it was a good idea to, you know what I'm saying, mate naturally. But, bro, she literally almost died. Like, I'm watching her have the C-section, and she's literally up in there dying, bro. I thought I was going to leave with a box of puppies and not my dog, bro. I was going to be hurt. Since that day, bro. It's been like 2 years since. People telling me to breed her again, bro, and I'm just like, bro, I do not want to do that, bro. I do not want to do that, bro. But she isn't... it's like she has health issues, bro. But
Then there's the eye problems, skin fold infections, hip dysplasia, and about a dozen other issues. Number 1, exotic dogs. There are only 2 animals worse than a Frenchie to spawn in as: an exotic Frenchie or bully. But on the bright side, at least your playthrough would be quick, since many don't even make it past a few years. I'm not kidding. Many exotic dog breeds are bred for competitions and are lucky if they even make it to a handful of them. And the crazy part is that the more exotic looking the animal is, the more expensive it becomes. And we all know, more expensive always means better. Some have even been sold for hundreds of thousands of dollars. So breeders are heavily incentivized to breed the most extreme dogs imaginable. Imagine taking one of the most compromised dog breeds in the world and heavily modifying it further, then just placing the word exotic in front of the name to increase its value. I know, it's genius. Extremely flat-faced and micro French bulldogs are perhaps the worst examples, and for obvious reasons. Everyone knows that a squished body or face makes everything cuter, but it does come with the slight inconvenience of lifelong chronic pain and life-altering diseases. I've already covered these features extensively, so let's move on. Exotic bullies are easily one of, if not the most unhealthiest animals in the world. But you didn't need me to tell you. You could just tell by looking at them. And since hundreds, if not thousands of breeders are creating whatever they want, it's literally impossible to keep up. But here are some of the most common modifications. Short muzzles that restrict breathing, massive heads that strain the neck and spine, legs so short mobility drops to zero, widened stances that cause bowed legs, and bodies shrunk down until their bones become fragile. All terrible for the dog's health, but great for winning competitions. And can you really argue ethics if at the end of the day, they're the ones holding a trophy? Look, I know I've made a lot of sarcastic jokes in this video, but in all honesty, do you know what I truly find beautiful? Being healthy and incredibly good looking.
That's diabolical, bro. Humans gotta tee up, bro. Alright. Y'all go ahead, like, comment, subscribe, do all in third. Hope y'all enjoyed. Tight.